व्हाइट हाउस कैबिनेट रूम में सदर डोनाल्ड ट्रंप का फील्ड मार्शल जनरल आसिम मुनीर के एजाज में जोहराना, उसके बाद वो मीडिया से गुफ्तगू कर रहे हैं।
Plus, you know, they have people on their staff too, but two smart people, two very smart people decided not to keep going with that war. That could have been a nuclear war. Those are two nuclear powers, big ones, big nuclear powers, and they decided not. So I was honored to meet him today.
And if I can also keep it, sir, and for anyone who may want to answer, how has the travel bans from certain countries affected fans maybe coming in for the games, or is that not a consideration?
Johnny, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's not a concern for us. For the games now in the Club World Cup, everything has been done in a very smooth way. We have an excellent collaboration, of course, with the president, but with the task force in particular. For next year, the World Cup, we have one more year to work, and the learnings that we have this year with the Club World Cup, which is historic, I say this to all the Americans, because it's the first ever Club World Cup, and it's played in the United States of America. So the learnings we'll have for this will apply them next year.
And they're largely sold out, so
But
I don't know. I don't think he's too worried about the travel ban. He doesn't know what the travel ban is, I don't think. Johnny, tell me what the travel ban is. He doesn't know what it is. He's largely sold out. Like tonight is totally. I've had friends, they heard about this meeting. They said, can you give me tickets? I don't know if I can get tickets. He won't give them to me.
We can speak.
Maybe John will give them to me. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, two questions, if I could. One about Iran and then one domestically. With Iran, what's your message to Americans, both here and abroad, who are not only concerned about the U.S. potentially getting involved in another conflict in the Middle East, but worry about the potential for retaliation here at home?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to get involved either, but I've been saying for 20 years, maybe longer, that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I've been saying it for a long time. And I think they were a few weeks away from having one. And they had to sign a document. I think they wish they signed it now. It was a fair deal. And now it's a harder thing to sign, you know. It's a lot of water over the dam. But, you know, it's very, I say it very simply. Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. Too much devastation. And they'd use it. You know, I believe they'd use it. Others won't use it, but I believe they'd use it. So that's it. It's very simple as far as I'm concerned. They can't have a nuclear weapon.
And then domestically, Missouri Senator Josh Hawley came out this week as the lead sponsor of the bill to raise the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. It stands out because he's a Republican. There's still 20 states that have it at $7.25. Do you support the legislation or the idea?
Well, I haven't seen it. I'd have to speak to Josh. He's a very good friend of mine. That's interesting that Josh did that. I have to think about that one. Some people agree with it, some people don't. You know, some people say it really turns away business. Restaurants close, and a lot of things happen. Other people agree. I'd have to speak to Josh. He's a good guy.
Mr. President, for the Iran, the possibility of an Iran deal, is the destruction or the dismantling of the Fordow nuclear enrichment center, is that a prerequisite for a deal? Is that a red line for you?
No, it's just something that people talk about having. We're the only ones that have the capability to do it, but that doesn't mean I'm going to do it at all. Yeah, we have the best military equipment in the world. You see that with this fight. We have planes that are undetectable, flying around like, you know, nobody's able to see them stealth. You guys want to be stealthy tonight. You know, you can be stealth, you'll never lose, right? But these are incredible planes and weapons. We have the best weapons in the world. By far, nobody close, and I mean, certain countries take advantage of that. Israel has incredible weaponry, so we'll see what happens. I've been asked about it by everybody, but I haven't made a decision.
Mr. President, you talked earlier today about having daily conversations with Prime Minister Netanyahu.
Yeah.
How have those conversations weighed on you in terms of getting more involved? He's been lobbying for the U.S. to get more involved. Has that had an impact in kind of your evolution, sir?
Look, we talk, and I'd like to see everything done. I would have preferred having just an agreement, a strong agreement, you know, verifiable agreement. But it was such a shame. They were so close. You know, Iran was very close to signing what would have been a very good agreement for them. And maybe that could still happen, I guess. You know, they do want to come and see us. They want to see me in the White House. That's a big statement, but it's very late.
Is it enough of a statement to hold off getting
We're going to see what
involved?
happens. Look, we're going to see what happens. Ending it as soon as you can would be good.
Have you closed the door on meeting with them?
No.
Okay, so it's still open to them coming here in your
Yeah,
eyes?
I mean, they asked if they could come. We'll see if that happens. It's not that easy for them to come. They can't get out. You know, they're in Iran, and in one case, the guy wanted to come so badly, but he can't get out because his bombs dropping all over the place.
Have you seen the Tucker Carlson, Senator Ted Cruz interview? It seems like this issue on whether or not the United States should strike is kind of dividing a lot of your supporters.
No, my supporters are for me. My supporters are America first. They make America great again. My supporters don't want to see Iran have a nuclear weapon. Tucker's a nice guy. He called and apologized the other day because he thought he said things that were a little bit too strong, and I appreciated that. And Ted Cruz is a nice guy. I mean, he's been with me for a long time. I'd say once the race was over, he's been with me ever since, right? But very simple. If they think that it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon, then they should oppose me, but nobody thinks it's okay. People that don't want, I don't want to fight either. I'm not looking to fight. But if it's a choice between fighting and them having a nuclear weapon, you have to do what you have to do. Maybe we won't have to fight. Don't forget, we haven't been fighting. We add a certain amount of genius to everything, but we haven't been fighting at all. Israel's done a very good job of that. But we'll see what happens. The bottom line is they can't have nuclear. And if Ted, I can't imagine that Ted Cruz said it's okay for Iran to have nuclear, including Tucker. I don't think Tucker says it's okay. The problem is then they get themselves into a thing. They don't want them to have nuclear, but then they say, well, we don't want to fight. Well, you're going to have to make a choice because it's possible that you're going to have to fight for them not to have nuclear. And it's interesting because I did ask Tucker, I said, well, are you okay with nuclear weapons being in the hands of Iran? And he sort of didn't like that. He didn't want to really, but he sort of didn't like that. And I said, well, if it's okay with you, then you and I do have a difference. But it's really not okay with him. Therefore, you may have to fight, and maybe it'll end, and maybe it'll end very quickly. But there's no way that you can allow, whether you have to fight or not, you can allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon because the entire world will blow up. Not going to let that happen.
Mr. President, you had a bit of a row with President Emmanuel Macron of France the other day, the G7 it sounded like.
He's a nice guy. Look, he said I was going back home to make a ceasefire. Not a ceasefire. We're long beyond ceasefire. And I said, why do you say that? Why would you say ceasefire? It's a bad term to use. Because a ceasefire means like everything's going swimmingly, we'll take a little time off. It's not. We're not looking for a ceasefire. We're looking for a total, complete victory. Again, you know what the victory is. No nuclear weapon.
Mr. President,
So I thought it was a very badly worded statement by him, and obviously I let him know that.
on the southern border, you've had record low numbers for the month of May, 95 apprehensions, 0 releases, compared to that of the previous administration exactly a year ago, more than 60,000 releases. What do you attribute that success to?
I like you. Who are you with?
Turning Point USA, sir.
Well, they're very good. Turning Point. Charlie, very good. That's what I call a good question, fellas. 1 out of 10, John. 1 out of 10, but that's a really good question. No, we had record good numbers on the border. And people are coming in, but they have to come in legally. Like some of these guys behind me, they have to come in legally. And if they come in legally, we want them. They have to say they love America, they love our country. And if they can't say that, we don't want them. Thank you very much. Very nice. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, press.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
U.S. President Donald Trump taking questions there in the Oval Office.
امریکی صدر ڈونلڈ ٹرمپ فیلڈ مارشل آسم منیر سے ملاقات کے بعد میڈیا سے گفتگو کر رہے تھے. انہوں نے کہا کہ فیلڈ مارشل سے ملاقات ایک اعزاز کی بات ہے. پاکستان کے ساتھ تجارتی معاہدے پر بات چیت ہو رہی ہے. فیلڈ مارشل کو جنگ روکنے پر شکریہ ادا کرنے کے لیے بلایا تھا. پاکستان اور بھارت دونوں جوہری طاقتیں ہیں، میری سپورٹ امریکہ کے لیے ہے۔ انہوں نے ایران کے بارے میں بات چیت کرتے ہوئے کہا کہ ایران نیوکلیئر ہتھیار نہیں رکھ سکتا، ایران معاہدے کے بہت قریب تھا، اس سے بار بار پوچھا گیا کہ آپ کی چوائس کیا ہے، لیکن اب بہت دیر ہو چکی ہے، اب ہمیں دیکھنا ہوگا کہ آگے کیا ہوتا ہے۔ انہوں نے کہا کہ اب دونوں ممالک کے لیے واپس آنا بہت مشکل ہے کیونکہ دونوں جانب سے بامز گرائے جا رہے ہیں۔ جب ان سے پوچھا گیا کہ آپ کس سے سپورٹ کرتے ہیں تو انہوں نے کہا میری سپورٹ میرے لیے ہے، میری سپورٹ امریکہ کے لیے ہے، میری سپورٹ اس میں ہے کہ ایران کے پاس کوئی نیوکلیئر ہتھیار نہ ہو۔ انہوں نے کہا کہ میں ہرگز لڑنا نہیں چاہتا لیکن ایران نیوکلیئر ہتھیار ہرگز نہیں رکھ سکتا۔ انہوں نے کہا کہ نیوکلیئر رکھنا ایسا ہے جیسے پوری دنیا کے لیے تباہی ہو، اور جب ان سے سوال کیا گیا فرانسیسی صدر ایمانوئل میکرون کے بارے میں تو انہوں نے کہا کہ وہ ایک اچھے شخص ہیں کیونکہ وہ سیز فائر چاہتے ہیں، لیکن سیز فائر اب کیسے ہوگا؟ انہوں نے کہا پتہ کیا ہے، پتہ اس میں ہے کہ کوئی نیوکلیئر ہتھیار نہ ہو۔